Greetings and welcome back to the Transform Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Anastasio, and today is Thursday, January 13th, 2022, and welcome to episode 27. So we're going to dive right in, guys, and keep this fairly streamlined, economical kind of episode. I know I say that a lot, and they often run over 20 minutes, so my apologies if I get your expectations up that it's going to be really short. But all I really want to do in this podcast, guys, as I just think about what's going on in the social media space, how different developments and trends and so forth can help you with your business. One of the things that's just nagging at me, and I keep coming back to it, and it's like it's in the headlines like every other day, is how to leverage the burgeoning power of TikTok for your business. Now, the tough thing for a lot of people, if they've gotten over the hump of whether or not they should use TikTok, and that's a whole other question, we could spend another podcast on that, but if you've reached the point where you're at least semi-convinced that this platform can help you and your business, that you can reach your audience there, knowing that about 40 to 50% of the people on TikTok are, almost certainly to be in your demographic in terms of professional services. Okay, we're talking about 30-year-olds and above. And then if you're talking just any kind of product that could appeal to anyone, well, of course, there's so many users piling into TikTok, it's certain that you could find your audience there. So it just kind of depends on how you look at that. But let's say you've passed that point. Let's say you're like, yeah, Chris, we've heard you talk about TikTok before. We did have another whole episode on it several episodes back. And you're like, okay, now what? Like, what do I do when I get there? I don't have lots of production equipment. I'm probably not going to dance to a music video. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to create. So what I want to do with this episode, guys, is just help you take that first, maybe second step to just get started there, to just get out of the gate, taste the platform, as Gary Vee would put it, taste the platform, and just kind of, get off the dime. It's the first thing you have to do, guys, the very first thing you have to do, if you've made this decision, to go forward, is understand it's not going to be perfect. Okay, that's probably step 0, is just making the mental shift and understanding it's not going to be perfect. And it doesn't need to be perfect. There's 0 requirement for it to be perfect. What you want to do is get started. That's the only box you're really trying to check, is getting started. So if you understand that, and you've internalized that, but you're like, okay, what do I do to get started? What am I going to create to get started? Well, I have 2 suggestions for you guys, and I would kind of call this post number 1 and post number 2. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through what I think you should post the first time, and then I'm going to give you an idea for what you can post, let's say, for your second, and then if you kind of understand why I make it your second, you probably see where you can be your third and your fourth and your fifth and your sixth and so on. Okay? And of course, you can vary it up, but I'm just saying you can create a whole lineage of posts like the second one I'm going to describe to you. Okay? So let's talk about post number 1. Given it is your first post, and given you are new to the platform, it only makes sense for you to introduce yourself. Okay? Introduce yourself and your business. Now, if you can do both of those in one post, do that. If maybe it's better to do 2 posts out of that, something that's a little bit more of a personal introduction that has to do with you starting your business or why you started it, and then the second one talks specifically about the business and what the business does, that's great too. I would just say create an introduction and then see how it naturally falls out. If it all kind of comes together in one post and you can kind of make it all one video, I think that's great. If it just doesn't feel natural and you definitely can see sort of a dividing line between the two, then go ahead and do 2 separate videos. Now, when you do it, okay, you have to understand, TikTok is all about low fidelity video, home video type of format, look and feel to it. So you don't need lots of fancy stuff. Like basically you need your phone and maybe a stand to put the phone on. Okay, now you can still hold the phone if you want to hold the phone. But if you have a stand, then you can be a little bit more free with your arm movements and so forth, which I'm going to get into in a second. But basically prop the phone up in a stable, appropriate height level type of setting, whether you're sitting and you want to put it on a desk, or you're standing and you want to affix it to something higher like a bookshelf or something like that, table, whatever. Get situated physically first. okay? And know that you don't need lots of equipment. You don't need a big ring light. You don't need floodlights, behind you. I mean, if you happen to have equipment like that that actually makes the video look clearer and brighter and nicer, sure, use it. I'm not saying don't use it. But do not see it as an impediment to actually producing a video on TikTok. It is not an impediment and it is not a requirement. Okay? So, I mean, in fact, I would linger there for a second and say the very appeal of TikTok and the very ubiquity of TikTok is at least partially stemming from the fact that you don't have to have all this fancy equipment and you don't have to do all this crazy kind of stuff to create videos for it. Okay? It's highly, highly accessible to everyone. Okay, so now you got your setting. Let's say you choose to stand. So you're standing, you have the camera pointed at the upper body, from your, let's say, waist level up. Okay? Now, all you're going to do, okay, is you're going to point in a few different directions. Now, I say a few because the number is going to change depending on the next thing I tell you. But for example, you're going to point over your right shoulder, you're going to point over your left shoulder, you're going to point to your left side, you're going to point to your right side. Okay, so let's just start there with 4 locations. Right shoulder, left side, right side. Okay. Then what you're going to do, okay, is you're going to create, and I probably should have reversed the order of these 2 things, but you understand, you get the point, is come up with 4 things, or however many times you need to point, if it's 5 things, if it's 3 things, whatever, about yourself and or your business. Okay? So for example, it might be like, hi, my name is Chris Anastasio. So you create that text, you place it, when you create your post, you place it over your right shoulder. So when you point over your right shoulder, you're pointing to that text. Hi, my name is Christopher Anastasio. Then you have a second set of text. Place it over your left shoulder. I started business XYZ in 2015. Boom, put that text over your left shoulder. Now you're pointing at that text when you point to your left shoulder or over your left shoulder. Then create a third set of text. I have a passion for helping people with marketing. Boom, put that text on your left side so when you point to the left side, that text appears there. Then create a fourth item like, please DM me if you need any help with marketing or have any questions about it. Probably a little shorter than that so you don't have too much text, but you get the point. Put that text on your right side. So now when you point to your right shoulder and over your left shoulder and to the left side and to the right side, that text that I just described appears one by one, it comes and it goes, at each of those points of location around your body. Okay, so now you have a video where you point to 4 locations and you have 4 sets of text that appear that talk about you and or your business. Now choose a song that kind of goes with your business. It could be anything. Could be, money, 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 money. That song. I probably should know the name of that song, and I much preferred that I would remember the name than have to sing it to you. But maybe it's something like that. Something kind of, kind of humorous about making money, or maybe it's something about working 9 to 5, or that song, whatever the name of that song is. But you get the point. Like, it's not good for me to throw these ideas out because they're all kind of randomized and so forth. Anything could work for what you think fits your business the best. Just use the music library that TikTok provides that you can select from. Choose that to overlay on the video clip, and now you have an introductory TikTok video. You have all the elements you need. You have the actual video footage. You have kind of a motion kind of aspect to it, so you're not singing and dancing, okay, but you are moving, okay, so the video has dynamics to it. You have text that, as it appears and comes and goes, it forces the person to stay on your video because they know that you're kind of walking them through a series of points. If you just put all the text on the screen, they may or may not read it all and move on, but if they're waiting for the next thing to come on the screen, it's a clever way to keep the person engaged with your content, okay, and to have them actually stay on your account on the platform. So TikTok likes that, just like any social media platform likes when people stay on the platform, and it rewards you for that, okay, in terms of reach and so forth. So you have the video, you have motion, you have text that drips out slowly and keeps the person's attention, and then you have music. So the whole thing about TikTok with videos and music is that it's entertaining and it's enjoyable to listen to and to watch. So when you overlay the music on top of the information that you're presenting in a video format, you have all the elements of a potentially successful TikTok video. Okay? So that should be your first post, guys. And I mean, the more I think about it, because of the brevity on TikTok, it is more likely that you can actually do 2 posts with this one idea. You can do one introducing yourself and giving a little bit more of a personalized, 3, 4, 5 bullet kind of introduction. And then you can have another post entirely that's more, hey, my business does these 3 or 4 or 5 services. We will do Facebook ads for you. We will do YouTube ads for you. We will do Instagram ads for you. Whatever, just totally making this up. But you can then break out in a series of textual statements, just like we did on the intro one personally. You can do that same thing from the business perspective and talk about your business a little bit like that. And boom, now all of a sudden you have 2 posts that introduce you and your business, okay? Now, the second idea, which could be your second post or could be your third, depending on what you do with the prior idea that I mentioned, is to go ahead and take maybe one of the most burning questions, and this is probably more geared to the services professionals who are advertising on TikTok or setting up a presence there. For those showing off products, it's a little different. I think we can get into that. Maybe we do a whole podcast on TikTok and e-commerce. There's some crazy things you can do out there with that in terms of like Shopify integration and things of that nature. So we'll leave that for another time. So if you're a product person, if you have a business selling products, this part may not be as applicable to you, but you can kind of listen and maybe get some ideas here as well. But for professional services businesses, as a second post or your third post, look at taking a very frequently asked question or critical process that, let's say, your clients or your prospective clients are facing or are going to face, and kind of walk them through a very high-level solution to it. Obviously, in a 60-second TikTok video, you're not going to solve the whole problem for them. But you can show them that you know that there is such a problem and you know how to deal with it. So let me give you an example here. Let's say you are in the finance realm and you're sort of let's say a financial advisor, or you advise people on entity selection, setting up corporations, LLCs, things of that nature. So let's say that a lot of people you deal with, they set up LLCs, but they, let's say, never set up an S corporation to minimize their tax liability from a self-employment perspective, right? Let's say that 80% of your clients end up having that problem or end up needing that solution, right? So you could create a TikTok video that walks them through at a high level, how do you set up an S corporation? So boom, right off the bat, again, you're standing in front of the camera. You don't have to dance. You don't have to sing. You're just standing facing the camera, and you create the steps required. So you have an intro text requirement that says how to set up S Corp. Boom, that text would come on the screen. Then it goes away, and you have another set of text that comes on and says, number 1, fill out form 2553, whatever the form. There's a form where you elect S corporation status with the IRS. So you'd say, fill out form XYZ. Boom. Number 2, choose a reasonable salary. Boom. 3, set up with a payroll provider like ADP or Paychex. Boom, that text goes away. Number 4, set up your books in QuickBooks. So you have proper bookkeeping for your business. And boom, so basically that would be it. And so, whether I got that exactly right or not, I mean, I have gone through that process before just a long time ago, guys. So I don't take, if you're looking to set up an S corporation, don't follow that advice. Definitely talk to a professional. Definitely go to get some professional assistance with that. But at a very, very, very high level, it's pretty similar to what I just said. And I think it just serves as a decent example here for the gist of what your next set of posts on TikTok can be. So after your intro's out of the way, now you start looking at these key frequently asked questions, these critical processes that your clients are going to face. And using the S Corp example, that's one that, somebody who's kind of like, hey, I don't know if I should do this or not, or I don't know anything about this. Boom, they come across your TikTok video and you're telling them right at the top, how to set up an S corporation. Boom, step 1, 2, 3, 4. The text comes, it goes as you walk through each step. Pick some music to put over the top of it that keeps the listener engaged or excited, whatever's most appropriate to the tonality of the video. And now you got everything you need. You have the video portion, you have a textually informative portion, and you have the music as well overlaid on top of it. And like I said, there's some dynamics movement-wise, because as the text is coming and going, you're pointing to it in the different locations on the screen. And of course, as you construct the post, you're going to match that text to each area of the screen you point to. Okay, now if you've gone on TikTok before, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen these posts over and over again where people do the pointing and the text. Okay, so it's kind of a big thing, and it's one of the most common ways to convey information on TikTok. Okay, so anyway, so bottom line is, once you see the value of creating a video like that and doing those kinds of frequently asked questions, well, now the sky is the limit. I mean, how many different questions do you get posed from your clients or your prospects on a daily basis? You know, pick another one. Why should you set up an S corporation? Like, what are the benefits of it? Boom, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the text on the screen, you know, from one to the other, point to it. Boom, you get another TikTok video. Okay. Which bookkeeping software should I use? Boom, you know, there's this one, this one, this one, and this one. You know, the list goes on and on and on. And you guys are going to know better than me what applies best for your business. But you can see all the possibilities here. Okay? It's just literally translating your knowledge base and the commonalities that tie together all the types of clients that you work with, and then translating that into value-oriented information. Again, you're not giving seminars on TikTok. That's not the point. You're putting out these little bite-sized, snack-sized pieces of content that grows the know, like, and trust factor. As people keep coming back and they see you, he knows about S-Corps, he knows about taxes, he knows about real estate, he knows about, oh, okay, let me talk to this person, let me engage this person. Okay, so that's really what you're supplying here, little bite-sized pieces of credibility that are formatted in a contextually friendly manner for the platform, in this case TikTok, and you're gaining traction off of that. And, you know, again, this is just 2 kinds of posts. This is just doing intro and then, you know, a series of FAQs. There's all different other types of things you can be posting here and doing with your business. There could be testimonial type of information you want to put out there. There could be announcements you want to make, exciting developments in your business. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But what I really wanted to accomplish in this podcast as we wrap up is just to give you a couple of ideas just to kind of get you going and say, okay, you know, if I'm stuck here and I know I want to use a platform, but I don't know what to say or what to put out there, these are 2 good ways to get started. Get yourself introduced, you and your business, and then get some really key, really popular, frequently asked questions answered in each post. You know, 1 post per question. Okay, guys? All right. So anyway, and again, guys, I know, you know, lately we've spent a pretty good amount of time on TikTok. And I just really want to emphasize it's obviously not the only platform out there. There's other things you can and should be doing. But I really don't want you guys to totally bypass this platform because you're ascribing it to, you know, too young a crowd or it's a fad or anything. This is a big deal. TikTok is a really, really big deal. And to let it go past you without at least scrutinizing whether it can help your business, I think is a grave mistake. Now, if you take a really close look at it and you just know it's not necessary and you got other avenues out there that are really working well for you, that's fine. But I just don't want it to be dismissed out of hand. Okay, guys? All right, so we're going to wrap up here. We're going to see you guys back next week, episode 28 and 29, week of 17 January. Super appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Super appreciate all the support that we get from you guys. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on LinkedIn, transform.com. And of course, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast. Really means a lot to us. Okay, guys, so we're going to wrap up episode 27 here. Thanks again, guys, and we will be talking to you next week. I'm your host, Christopher Anastasio. Hope everybody has a great, safe, prosperous weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.